When is the right time to buy life insurance? When you're healthy and you don't need it. But unfortunately, most people wait until it's too late, until after either a tragic event happens to one of their family members or their loved ones, or worst case scenario, themselves. And now the cost of the policy has gone up drastically to where they can't afford it, or worst case scenario, they get denied. So in this video, we're going to answer two of the most popular questions when it comes to life insurance, which is, when is the right time to buy life insurance, and what type should I get? Here's what we'll cover: the 3 stages of life where timing matters most, the pros and cons of different types of life insurance policies, and what I personally recommend getting based on your goals and your budget. By the end of this video, you will have total clarity on which type of life insurance policy is right for you and your family. My name is Amanda Ryba, and I've been working as a licensed financial coach for just shy of a decade, helping design different types of life insurance policies for different scenarios. I've worked with single individuals, young families, those that are retiring, over 800 clients in total throughout my career. And my goal today is to walk you through exactly how to know what type of policy is right for you. First, when is the best time to buy life insurance? And the truth is, it's when you don't need it, because you're probably younger, you're probably healthier, which means you can lock in a lower rate. Let's dive into the 3 stages of life. And the first one is when you're in your 20s and 30s, when you may not have kids, you may not have a spouse, and you may not have assets necessarily to insure. But you're in the stage of your life where you're probably the youngest and the healthiest, and your policy would be the cheapest it could ever be. So you may not have a need for term insurance or a lot of insurance, but it's a great time to lock in a permanent policy, such as an IUL or a whole life policy that can grow you a cash value component behind the life insurance. This cash value can be accessed for anything that you want to do at a later date, such as buying real estate, maybe paying for a wedding, maybe starting a business, and it's going to allow you to eventually become your own bank if it's set up and structured correctly. The second stage of life is when you're in your 30s up to your 50s, when you do maybe have kids, when you do probably have a spouse, when you do maybe have a mortgage that you need to pay for. This is when you need a lot more life insurance. Now, in addition to what you set up when you were in your 20s, now you want to be looking at something called term insurance. Term insurance is temporary. It's only good for a certain amount of years, 10, 15, 20, 30, up to 40 years today. So it's very inexpensive because it's going to expire, but it gives you a lot of life insurance for nearly pennies on the dollar. So somebody that has a mortgage and has kids and owns property and has a spouse might need $1 million in life insurance to protect all of that. And you can get that at a very low cost if you get a term insurance product, in addition to the permanent life insurance policy that you set up when you were younger. And the third stage is age 50 and beyond, into retirement. At this point in life, you're probably somewhat self-insured between the assets that you've acquired, plus you still have the life insurance that you got from the earlier stages of life. Your kids have moved out, so you don't have that financial responsibility, and you're probably pretty close to debt-free if your house is paid off. So there's not necessarily a huge need for a massive insurance policy at this point. You more so just want to make sure you have enough coverage to cover the cost of any funeral expenses or final expenses you would have when you do pass away. That's where something called final expense insurance comes in, and it's usually somewhere between maybe $25,000 to $50,000 at most, just designed to cover the cost of a funeral. Now, what kind should you get? Let's recap. Term insurance, it's the most affordable, and it's great for protecting the need for your income. And nowadays, it does come with a feature called living benefits, which means if you were to get really sick or injured, you can actually borrow money out of the death benefit of the life insurance policy to pay for any medical expenses you may have. However, it does expire at some point. It's only good for 10 up to 40 years at most, and there's no cash value component to it. When it expires, it's done. The second kind is permanent life insurance, and this is permanent life insurance, a permanent death benefit that will last you for as long as you live. It does come with flexible premiums, meaning you can put in less or you can put in more. These also come with the ability to add living benefits, meaning you can access that death benefit if you get really sick or injured. And it does have the ability to grow a cash value component behind the death benefit that you can borrow against at a later date. The downside is they are definitely more expensive than a term policy, so they may not fit the budget. And the last kind is final expense, which again is permanent life insurance coverage that will last you for as long as you live. And there are options today for what we call guaranteed issue once you pass a certain age. Typically it's past age 50. Meaning you don't have to worry about doing a medical exam, and if you have some medical conditions, you can pretty much get guaranteed you'll get a policy. They do have lower death benefit amounts, usually somewhere from $25,000 to $50,000, and they're usually less expensive. But you can't really change them after they issue, and there is no significant cash value that will grow that you can borrow against. Now, question for you, which stage of life are you in right now? Drop a comment below and let me know. Now again, when is the best time to get life insurance? When you're young and healthy and you don't need it. And the right kind will really depend on your goals. Term life insurance is great for affordability. IUL or whole life gives you permanent life insurance that grows the cash cash value component behind it, and final expenses there just to cover the cost of a funeral. Now remember, the older you get, the more expensive the policy will get, and the higher chance you have of having an injury or an illness happen where you can't even get approved. Now, if you want to learn more about how life insurance works, I've linked 2 videos here that can walk you through it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video teaching you helpful things about what you can do with your money, and I will catch you back here next week on YouTube.